Okay.
And again, the bigger.
So right now in Texas, right now, Governor Abbott has given it some direction as to what's going to happen in the fall, but as we can tell, things are rapidly changing daily. So it's kind of up in the air whether it's going to be fully remote learning, if it's distance learning, if some schools are going to open and let kids back in. It's just all up in the air. So can you talk a little bit more about what challenges you guys anticipate as schools reopening, and how can 8x8 support the schools to adopt a blended learning environment?
Yeah, I think we touched on a little bit, but I think at the end of the day, what's going to be really important is flexibility. Schools are going to have the ability to bounce between those three elements. All of the governors are basically coming together and saying there's going to be effectively one of three things is going to take place. One is we're going to return back to school, but we're going to do so in a modified way, 2 or 3 days a week per student, and then 2 or 3 days at home. And then there's going to be full online learning on certain classes. And I think people need to be prepared to bounce between those, right? Texas is a good example, well, not good, is an appropriate example of that challenge. In the fall, when we reopen, we don't know how the virus is going to respond or spread. So even though we may want to go back, let's say in September, and we're going back with the plan of their being there for 3 days a week for group A of kids, and then the other kids come the other 3 days a week, and then both groups on their off times are doing online learning, we have to also prepare for the concern that in a particular school district or even a specific school, an outbreak could cause them to all go back home 100% again for a period of time. You have to have the flexibility in your solution to do that. What I talked about a little bit earlier in this conversation was our X2 license really allows you to have the flexibility of when things are normal, and whatever the new normal is, my kids in school, my kids in the classroom, I still have a business number. I can still email the teacher. I can still SMS that teacher on that business number. She could use our platform to bring in a guest speaker, a guest lecturer. There might be a person in the physics department who really does a particular lab really well, and she wants to share that with her class. They can do that on the meetings platform. But something happens, and then the next day everybody has to go home 100%. That same platform then becomes, I'm doing my content delivery on that tool, this 8x8 meetings. Got it, so I'm teaching that class now on it, recording it like we talked about. I now have a business number that's been shared with parents and teachers that they can call and ask questions or follow up on assignments or SMS with me. And again, all of that provides that flexibility. So what I'm encouraging schools to think about is how you go in and out of those different phases, because I think there's going to be the potential, and you need to prepare for that potential, to have to go from a sunny day scenario where kids are going to school 2 or 3 days a week to they have to go home for the next 2 weeks. We have to quarantine. There's been a small outbreak, and then back. So making sure your tools can allow for a pretty seamless transition. 8x8, the same tools are used in sunny day versus distance learning. So for us, we think that it's just a matter of adjusting for that particular moment, but still all using the same tool set. So the learning curve, the ability to communicate, all of those things stay in place, and they're the same. You're just adopting for a sunny day versus a rainy day.